my indoor garden. If you told me a few years ago that one day I'd be growing potatoes in my kitchen and that they would grow taller than me, I wouldn't have believed it, but here we are. So I've always had a bit of a green thumb, and I've always loved plants and wanted a garden of some form or other. And of course life changes, and I adapted as my life situation changed. But I'd like to share with you a look back at my gardening history just to explain how we got here. I always loved plants, always wanted to have a garden, and did have a very large garden in my other house, it was high maintenance. It was a lot of weeding, a lot of trouble. And once I found myself a single mom, I really didn't have the time or the budget for a huge garden like that. And I couldn't afford the house, so I moved. But anyway, so from then on, I just had a simple garden, perennials that come back every year, planters, cheap and cheerful. I just get annuals from the garden center. And now, since the pandemic and since I'm not going anywhere, I stopped going to garden centers or anything. It used to be one of my favorite places, going to nurseries, greenhouses, and garden centers. I love being surrounded by plants. One of our other favorite places was the Butterfly Conservatory. So beautiful. And not just for the butterflies, but it was literally like, even in the middle of winter, you could step in, you leave your coat at the coat check, and you walk through, and it's literally like you're in a jungle. It was humid. You're surrounded by these gorgeous tropical plants. It was like another world. I never wanted to leave. I loved going there. But now we don't go anywhere since COVID. And now I don't really even spend that much time outside, even to mow the lawn. Well, now it's snowing. I can't believe we're almost into December. Time flies. But anyway, even outdoors, I wear a mask just in case, because not only the pandemic, but bird flu is out there. There are birds and rodents and who knows what. They can be carrying a lot of pandemics are zoonotic. Plus pollution, air pollution. There's been train derailments and God knows what. So a lot of stuff going on, and wildfire smoke. So really, I mean, they used to call it the great outdoors. I call it the great indoors now. So you've got to bring the outdoors in and enjoy plants inside. So I'm going to go through a lot of things that I'm growing now. I did do a previous video, DIY groceries, but it didn't go quite as I planned because it was a new computer program and it was not user friendly. And long story short, it didn't go as planned. And a lot of my clips were missing and a lot of things I didn't get to talk about. So I wanted to go over everything. And plus, since then, there are other things I've grown, like the potatoes. I didn't even have them in my last video, and now they've just gone crazy. So I'm going to go over all the things that are obviously thriving, but I thought first, because I want to keep it real, I'm going to go over my epic fails, because maybe you can learn from my mistakes, because there are a lot of things that I've tried to grow and they just did not work out. Some of them just flat out wouldn't grow, didn't sprout at all, and some seemed to be growing and then just bloop, they died. They wilted and died. So I want to go over that because a lot of these gardening videos, okay, so if you watch my previous video, you know it all started with my tomato plant. So in September of 2022, Michelle and I thought it would be fun to plant some tomato seeds just from a little cherry tomato and see if they would grow. Well, they did grow. And it grew until this year, but there were no tomatoes. And then this year in June, it started to get these little yellow flowers. And I thought, oh, cool, maybe that's going to turn into tomatoes. And they didn't at first, but I did some research and found out how to pollinate, because they're not outside for the bees to pollinate. So you can just tap on the flowers and that pollinates them. And I did get tomatoes. Now, I kept waiting for them to turn red, and one finally did. But anyways, the tomatoes are what started it all, because when I went to research how to grow the tomatoes, I found a whole world of planting indoor gardening videos and growing your own groceries. I called it DIY groceries, because even just from scraps and seeds that you get from fruits and vegetables that you buy with your groceries anyway. So, I mean, if you can reduce, reuse, and recycle even food scraps, that's amazing. So I tried a lot of things and some of them did not work out. And a lot of these videos, they make it seem like everything's easy and everything goes perfectly. And it's not real life. And then you feel like a failure because it's like, it didn't work for me. So I'm going to go through, there's a long list of things. So I'm going to go through my fails, my kind of mixed results, and then my successes. But yeah, overall, I mean, I called this growing pains because some of it, I mean, a lot of it is trial and error, and some of it is a pain, and it's disappointing and upsetting. And I mean, I even cried when some of the plants died. I get attached to them because you're growing them from a seed, you know, and you're invested in them and you're rooting for them, and then it doesn't work out. But you know, I'm a control freak and I can't control everything. But anyway, so I'm going to go through everything, and overall, I mean, it's been a very rewarding experience. So I'm glad that I did it, and it's growing food. I mean, there's so many advantages, obviously, to growing your own food. So anyway, I'm going to go through everything. And also, I wound up getting some house plants because I thought, I don't know what's going to happen in the winter. Like, what if all the plants die? And I still wanted to have plants in my kitchen because I've gotten used to having them around. So I got some house plants that I ordered and had them delivered, which I didn't even know if that was possible, but it was. So anyway, I'll go over that too. So hopefully this won't be too long, but I wanted to do this video to share this because this has been my hobby since the summer. And yeah, so I'm going to go through all the things with you. Okay, so one of my first fails, epic fails, was lemons. Lemons were a real lemon. So, I mean, I'd seen a cute video, I'm not going to name names, don't throw it out. I'd seen a video about growing your own lemon tree just from, you know, seeds from a lemon that you get at the grocery store. So I got a lemon and yeah, no, it had no seeds. There were no seeds. I could not find one seed in this lemon. And I guess they're seedless because probably most people don't want seeds. So anyways, at least, I mean, I had lemons for a change. I had a slice of lemon with every drink for a while, so fine. Then I tried limes, almost the same thing. I did find a couple of little seeds. They didn't sprout. They didn't do a thing. So that was a waste of time. Peaches. Now, oh my gosh. Okay, again, I saw this cute video by someone who will remain nameless, but don't throw it out. About growing a peach tree. So wouldn't that be cute to have a little peach tree? Okay, so he says, so you crack open the pit to get the seed inside. What he doesn't say is how the heck you crack open that pit, because I was trying hammers, I could not get the pit open, and then finally what worked were pruning shears. But you have to be careful because you try to cut along the seam of the pit. But if you squeeze too hard, you're going to cut through the seed inside. You have to squeeze it like just hard enough that you break through the pit to get to the seed. Anyway, I went through all that and a few of the seeds wound up cut in half. But anyways, so I finally had my little peach seeds. Yay, look at me go. Now, a few things like peaches and apples, pears, plums, a lot of fruits, they need to go through a process called stratification. So they need to be cold for a while before they can germinate. So you put them in the fridge. Like with some things, you put them in a wet paper towel, in a baggie, put it in the fridge, wait a month, whatever. So the peach pit, I think that was the one that, so you get the seed, you put it in a little airtight container of moist soil, put it in there and leave it for a month. And then take it out. It didn't sprout anything, but I still planted it in soil just in case, because the apples, which I'll get to later, the apples which were stratified, they did work and they did grow, but peaches not so much. So put them in soil, nothing, nada, not a sprout, nothing. Plums, same deal. Plums, tried putting them in the fridge, planted it in soil, nothing ever came of it. Now blueberries, okay, I got my hopes up for nothing. But okay, so blueberries, I thought, wouldn't it be cute to plant them in the little plastic container that they come in, because they're supposed to have a humidity dome. They're supposed to be covered. So I thought it would be perfect because I can just put the lid on and there they are in their little container. I also had in other pots with, you know, I have plastic humidity domes to put over pots. So yeah, so I did that and nothing grew. So nothing grew except I had this one blue pot because again, I'm very like literal when it comes to everything. So I thought, won't it be cute to grow blueberries in a blue pot? So some of the seeds I put in, well, something started to sprout and I got so excited because I thought, oh my gosh, it's a blueberry. Finally, one of the blueberries sprouted. But then when it got a bit bigger, I'm like, wait a minute, it looked familiar. Okay, so red peppers, which by the way are very easy to grow. I think what happened was at one point I ran out of soil, which by the way, I go through a lot of Miracle Grow potting mix. But anyway, so I was running low on soil and I had, I have a little 2-shelf thing that I use as a potting bench, and I've got this tray and the soil collects in it. Anyways, I was scraping up some of the soil in that to kind of like just fill in the pot because I was low on soil. Well, I think there must have been a red pepper seed that was hiding in there because this was a red pepper. So I called it like the blueberry imposter because it was in the blueberry pot, but it was just a red pepper. But I still love the thing and it was doing really well for a long time and I got attached to it and everything, and then it didn't last. Like the other red peppers, a lot of them are still doing well, but that one, I was heartbroken because that one, I just kind of had affection for it because it was my little blueberry that wasn't a blueberry, and it was just cute. But anyways, disappointing. But yeah, blueberries, no. And I mean, I've heard from other videos that it can actually take a few years before they bear fruit. And especially indoors, like a lot of fruits may not ever, because they may not get enough sunlight inside. So, I mean, right now I have my grow light overhead light on, but usually I don't have that on during the day. I just have the natural light. And now that it's coming on winter, there's very little light. Like a lot of days, it is dark all day. Like even at 4 p.m., it looks like the middle of the night. So they're not getting as much light. Now I do put the light on in the evening, but I don't know if it's enough. So anyway, yeah, so that's blueberries. Kiwi, okay. So one good thing that this was kind of an experiment trying to grow things, and I was inspired to try some new fruits because I wanted to get the seeds and try to grow them. So Michelle had never had a kiwi before. I had one many years ago, but anyway, I got a kiwi. So we tried it, we liked it. It has a lot of little tiny seeds. None of them sprouted, nothing. I tried it in wet paper towel, I tried it in water, I tried it in soil, nothing ever came of it. Passion fruit, oh my gosh. So I was really excited to try to grow passion fruit because it grows this gorgeous, otherworldly flower, as you saw. So I really wanted to try to grow them. I'd never had passion fruit before, so I got one, but oh my gosh, like it looked so gross inside because it's just this mushy green ooze, and that's the part that you eat. Like the seeds, the flesh, the fruit is on the seeds, and that is the part that you eat. So I didn't want to waste the fruit, so I thought we're gonna try it. Michelle really liked the taste, but she did not like the texture, which, you know, same. Because she said it was like fish eggs or something, like just these little seeds with fruit on. But it did taste really good. So I had the seeds, I sucked on the fruit and then spat out the seeds and tried to grow. Nothing grew from them. But one thing I've done is I have saved a lot of the seeds. So I've saved most of the packets of seeds, so I am going to try to grow them again. Some of the seeds I got from the fruit itself, like from the grocery store, and some seeds I wound up ordering on Amazon with varying levels of success, which I'll get to. But yeah, so I might try growing things again in the spring, or maybe at some point planting things outside, but I really prefer to have things inside because, like I said, outside you just don't know what's out there. Pollution, bugs, rodents, birds, who knows what they're carrying. And I have bunnies that I know they eat things. I've seen them eat some of my bushes, so I know that if there were vegetables out there, they'd be eating them. There was even a baby bunny. It was so cute the other day. So yeah, I would prefer to grow things indoors, but I mean, if things grow outdoors, that would be nice too. And some of the pots where they didn't grow, I did dump the soil like along my fence. So who knows, if some of those seeds might, you know, might come to fruition. Maybe I'll have some fruit trees growing outside, who knows. But anyways, so yeah, passion fruit, no luck. Now pomegranate, I was planning to get a pomegranate from the grocery store, and then they didn't have one when I did my grocery order. So I got the seeds from Amazon. Nothing grew, nothing sprouted. But I mean, I can't really fault them because even myself, like with my kiwi and my passion fruit, I had the actual seeds myself from the fruit and nothing came of it. So sometimes it just doesn't work. Now cucumbers, I had heard that cucumbers were really easy to grow, that they sprout really fast and all this. So I got a cucumber, but unfortunately at my grocery store, you can only get English cucumbers. You can't get field cucumbers. So maybe field cucumbers are easier. But my English cucumber, it had very tiny seeds. They did not sprout. They did not sprout in wet paper towel. They didn't sprout in soil. Nothing happened. That was disappointing. Now potatoes. I had seen this French guy do this video about potatoes and said they're easy to grow and all this. So now maybe because he was using organic potatoes, maybe that's what you're supposed to do, but I just had my regular bag of potatoes. Now I usually get white or yellow potatoes, but at the time that I first started to try sprouting potatoes, I only had russet potatoes. So they never sprouted, nothing, like nada. And I thought, what are the odds? Because it seems like every time I get a 10-pound bag of potatoes, by the time I get to the end of the bag, some of them, they have, my mom always called them eyes. They have those little sprouts, and I just break them off, like it doesn't really bother me. And then you peel them and you still eat them, like whatever. But now I actually wanted them to sprout, and I was waiting for them to sprout, and they wouldn't. So I got these little potatoes too. Anyways, took a while. Finally, some of the little ones sprouted. And then, yeah, but the russet potatoes, not at all. So I heard that some potatoes, and I guess a lot of vegetables, are actually treated with a growth inhibitor. So they don't want them to sprout, I guess, because most people would prefer if your potatoes didn't grow eyes. So I don't know whether I guess the farmers do this, whatever. So yeah, a lot of things from your grocery store, they may not grow very well because they're not supposed to. They don't want you to regenerate the food. But anyway, I did obviously find some potatoes that do grow quite well, but we'll get to that later. Oh, almonds. Okay, so I heard that you can grow almonds just from an almond. So most things, you know, you sprout them by putting them in a wet paper towel. So almonds were the same. Nothing sprouted, and it smelled terrible. It was gross. I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah, never again. So the almonds, no, that was a no-go. Don't even bother. Grapes. There were these bogus videos that showed that you could grow grapes on a tomato tree and grow it. It's all BS. Bottom line, you cannot, well, I could not grow grapes. Even just, now most grapes are seedless because people prefer them seedless, but I did manage to find a couple of little seeds and tried planting nothing. So nothing ever came of the grapes. Coconut, I was really excited to try to grow a coconut palm tree. And I tried a couple of different ways. I tried putting it in soil. I tried putting it in a bag of water, but nothing sprouted. I kept waiting and checking for that little sprout to come out of it. It's got like, almost looks like a face, like a monkey face. It's got two eyes and a mouth, and then the sprout's supposed to come out of, I think, out of the mouth or out of one of the eyes or something, but nothing ever came of it. So that was a no-go. Bananas. I really wanted to grow a banana tree. I was so excited. And again, one of these bogus videos that shows, oh yeah, surefire, grow banana tree. You dip the bottom of a banana in aloe vera. I even got an aloe vera plant just to do that. And then you put it in the soil. Nothing grew from it. And then I tried, because bananas do have tiny seeds inside. I tried, no, nothing. So what I finally did, I got some seeds from Amazon. I thought, what the heck, you know, I'll try it. And something did grow. I don't know if it's a banana, and it's not doing very well right now, but they just look like blades of grass. So yeah, I don't know if those are bananas, but something's growing anyway from those seeds. Zucchinis. Okay, so I heard that, because I was reading, I was interested in this stuff, so I did some research on it, and I heard that zucchinis were very easy to grow. So I'm like, I'm all for it. I love things that sprout quickly and grow quickly. Great. I got a zucchini. I'm not used to eating zucchinis. So Michelle and I tried it. Again, at least it got us eating more fruits and vegetables. We even had a day where we ate nothing but fruits and vegetables and got through the whole day. No meat, no dairy, just fruits and vegetables. And we got through the whole day. And, you know, so sometimes we're going to try to go without eating meat, because who knows what the future holds. We may not be able to eat meat anymore. I mean, maybe just that whole industry is going to disappear. Who knows if they're even going to be able to grow crops. I mean, with climate emergency, a lot of places are flooded or on fire. Who knows what's going to happen? But at least I know I can grow some things myself, and I know that if we had to, we could just live on fruits and vegetables and legumes if we had to. But anyway, okay, so zucchini. So I get a zucchini. Michelle and I try it. She did not like it. I didn't make her have any more, but I cut up the rest, and I had it with my spaghetti with onions and garlic. It did not agree with me. My stomach, there was an incident. It wasn't good. So I still tried to sprout the seeds just for fun, but they did not sprout, and it's probably for the best, because I don't think I'm going to be having zucchini again. It just, I have IBS, and some things just don't agree with me, and maybe I just got a bad one. I don't know. Maybe it was just bad luck, but so no zucchini, no sprout, and it's probably just as well. Okay. Now I'm going to go through the partial successes that, you know, things that did start to grow or sprouted, but they just didn't last, which was very disappointing and heartbreaking in some cases. Okay, so strawberries. I love strawberries. Michelle and I love strawberries. We really wanted to grow them. It did not go well. Okay, so it started off, and again, like with the blueberries, I thought, wouldn't it be cute to grow strawberries in the strawberry container? So I had a bunch of, you know, plastic little containers with the lid, because they are supposed to be sprouted with a humidity dome. They're supposed to have a cover. So I had the soil, and I had them in here, and they did sprout, and there were a lot of them. Like you scrape off the seeds on the edges of the strawberry and put them in the soil, and they did sprout. They did sprout, but they didn't get very far. They were tiny little things. And one of the mistakes I made, okay, so I left the humidity domes on too long, because I thought you just keep them on until, I don't know when, until they grow bigger. But you're supposed to take it off as soon as they sprout. So some of them, like I had a pot that was shaped like, it looked like a strawberry, and I had a lid over that. And there were a lot of strawberries, but I kept the lid on. I should have taken it off. But anyways, so those ones became kind of leggy. They were very skinny, like little scrawny little sprouts. They didn't do too well. But even the other containers where I took the lid off, they didn't make it very far. I guess they need a lot more sunlight than they're going to get through the window, or I don't know. Like, the problem is, a lot of things, you don't know exactly what went wrong, because plants can wilt or turn yellow or brown, whether they're overwatered or underwatered, whether there's too much sun or not enough sun. It's all just kind of trial and error. Like, basically, if you check the soil and it feels wet and they're wilting, don't water them and put them in the sun and hope for the best. If you check the soil and it's dry, maybe they just need some water. You know, maybe they just need a pep talk. Sometimes I had plants that, you know, were drooped over. I'd give them a pep talk and then they were okay. But other times it just doesn't work. So you do your best, but it's not always going to work. And it is disappointing. So yeah, my strawberries, they didn't last. Pears. Okay. Oh my gosh. So I got so excited because pears were one of the things that you have to stratify in the fridge. So I can't remember, I think you put them in a wet paper towel. Anyways, so a month later, take them, it didn't really look like anything had sprouted, but I still planted it in the soil and whatever. And I think it was the same time that I planted the peaches and plums, and anyway, so nothing was growing. I was almost going to give up. So the pears and the peaches and the plums, I did give up. I threw that soil in the backyard. Maybe they'll grow in the backyard one day. The pears, I was almost going to give up, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it another like day or so. Well, all of a sudden it sprouted, and I got so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's growing a pear tree, and it was so cute. So then I thought, wouldn't it be cute to have, because for Christmas, a partridge in a pear tree. So I tried to get a pot with a partridge in a pear tree. It does not exist. So I was determined I was going to make a pot, and then I thought, oh my gosh, instead of a partridge in a pear tree, I can have a pear tree in a partridge. So I sculpted this partridge head to put the pear tree in, but then the pear tree, by the time because I got air dry clay, by the time I sculpted it, let it dry out, painted it, all that, and then by then the pear tree was starting to wilt, and now I don't know if he's going to make it. It's too sad to even show him. But what I wound up doing is I thought, well, screw it. I've gone through all this. I've got this partridge head now. So I got some little fake branches and some little fake pears, and I've got my pear tree and a partridge. So when in doubt, you know, faux is the way to go. So this is my pear tree and a partridge. Yeah, I'm a little strange, I know. I looked up what a partridge looks like online, and that was it. So, yeah. So yeah, things don't always go the way you planned. Carrots. Okay. I don't even like carrots that much, if I'm being honest. I really don't. But they're so good for you. And I thought, might as well try to grow carrots. I'd seen a video. You cut off the carrot tops, you put them in water, and they get roots, and they grow, whatever. So I tried it, but they all got mushy, and nothing grew any roots or anything. There was one carrot top that didn't get mushy. I put it in soil. Anyways, it did start to grow little green shoots, and it was doing well for a long time. I had it in an orange pot because, again, you know, carrot in an orange pot, it's cute. it didn't last. All of a sudden it just died. And so I was disappointed. So then I got some rainbow carrot seeds, thinking from Amazon, thinking, okay, well, might as well grow rainbow carrots. They're kind of cute, different colors. Nothing sprouted. So no luck with carrots. Herbs. Okay, so the herbs were working out at first. I grew some basil. So what you do, you get the stem, you take off the bottom leaves, put it in water and wait for it to root. Well, it did, and it got some good strong roots. Put it in soil. It was doing wonderfully for a while. It was even growing little flowers. It was cute, and I was using the basil. I thought, this is great, you know, have fresh herbs all the time. Now there was one that was kind of wilted, but I gave him a pep talk, and he perked up. So for a while it was doing well, but then they started to fail. And the other herbs that I tried, so dill, I really love dill. So, and it came in a bunch and it had roots. So I thought, oh, this is great. It has roots. I can plant it, right? So I planted, but they all flooped over. They're all wilted. And I thought, okay, well, I cut off all the tops and I used the dill at the top. And they just had these stems. Well, they grew back. They started to regenerate. I'm like, this is great. I'm going to have fresh dill. It didn't last. And then they were all floopy. So I had to give up on that. And then oregano, I tried oregano and mint. I tried to root them. They never rooted. And even the mint started to get like this black, like it's, I think there's a fungus or something that's like blackfoot fungus or something. Anyway, it turned black, and then they got these bumps. Anyways, long story short, the oregano and the mint did not grow. But you know, I was thinking about it. If I was growing these foods for survival, like herbs, they're a nice to have. They're not a need to have. I mean, they add flavor, but you cannot live on them. No one ever says, I'm starving, I think I'll have a bowl of oregano. Like, it's not going to happen. So potatoes, now that is a survival food. You can live on potatoes or starve if you don't have them, like in the potato famine. But anyway, okay. So another thing that was really disappointing, because all the videos that I saw made it look so easy, and in real life it really wasn't, garlic. Now, I love garlic. I'm half Italian. I have spaghetti all the time. I love garlic. So I really wanted to grow garlic, but it did not go well. So usually I get peeled garlic so I can just chop it up, use it in my cooking. But because I wanted to grow it, I got an actual like full garlic clove, whatever. They are so hard to peel. Like, I had no idea. Very, very hard to peel the thing and then put it over water. And I was waiting ages, and nothing was happening. No roots, no sprouts, nada. And I'm like, how come all these videos, you know, they show and they put it in their water and oh, it's in no time there. And like, how come it works for everyone else? So then what I tried was I separated the cloves. I thought maybe if the cloves are on their own, and well, that did help, but they did get roots, and some of them got some crazy roots, but they never sprouted. So finally they were starting to sprout. I put them in soil. They went rotten. There were these little white bugs or something, and they never fully sprout. It was such a disappointment. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to bother with garlic again. I'm not going through that again. It's too much disappointment for too little reward. Another thing, I tried red onions. I used to love red onions, but I tried to sprout them, and they did get some roots, but again, this barely any sprout. And you put them in soil, and they just go rotten. And it's just not worth it. I think there was one that, yeah, just a second. There was one that was okay. So this guy is a red onion, and he's doing pretty well. I mean, he's nothing to write home about, maybe a short letter, but I've been using it. Like, I do use, when I run out of onion, I do use these ones that I'm growing. So it's all right. So yeah, the red onions, I was very disappointed. And I just want to note that, sure, that one did pretty well, but for that one, there were like 10 others that did not do well. And I had rotting onions in water for like a month. So it's not pleasant. So I don't think I'm going to do that again. Like, what I thought was, this is a way to reuse food and reduce food scraps. But now my city is participating in the compost program. Now I know a lot of other cities have already been doing this for years, but we've just started. So we have this compost now. So we put food scraps in this. So I know they're not being wasted. So they're going in to make compost. So that's good for the environment. So yeah, so I'm not messing around with rotting onions anymore. I'm like, it's not worth it. To me, if I'm going to do onions, the green onions are the way to go. They're amazing, but I'll get to them later. So yeah, red onions were really a disappointment. Then I tried yellow onions. They were much easier to grow. So this guy's pretty good. This is the best one that I've had. Now he wasn't just from the bottom of the onion, he was a whole onion, which I usually don't want to do because I don't want to waste that onion. Like I'd rather eat the onion and then just use the bottom. But this, I've gotten a lot of use out of this because I've already been cutting the shoots a few times and they've grown back. So this guy's doing pretty well. But some of them, I mean, really, this guy's not looking too good. So yeah, the yellow onions did sprout better. They got roots easier and they grew the shoots easier, but still, I really just don't want rotting onions in water for like a month or more. So yeah, I probably won't be bothering with them anymore. Cabbage. So I got this red cabbage. I thought, wouldn't it be beautiful if I could regrow that? Well, when I got it from the store, like it barely even had a bottom. It barely had any base, but I still cut off the bottom that was there and tried to grow it. And it did start to sprout something, but it didn't last. I thought it looked too crowded in the pot, so I put it in a bigger pot and it didn't last. So my SD card ran out, so I had to get a new SD card. And now the sky is dark. Like this is how dark it gets in the middle of the afternoon now. Anyway, where was I? I still got so much to get through and I don't even know how long this video is going to be. Like an hour, I don't know. So where was I? Okay, yeah. So the cabbage, it was starting off really good and I got my hopes up. It was pretty, these purple leaves. And then I moved it to a bigger pot and no, it didn't like it and it wilted. So I mean, I used to think, why don't you always move things to a bigger pot, give it more room? Well, sometimes it's better to keep it in a smaller pot because in a larger pot, it can maybe be overwatered. If there's too much water, then the roots can't absorb all of it, you know, because a bigger pot is going to hold more water. And then if you don't give it enough water, then it can dry out and the water is nowhere near where it is. So at least in a small pot, it can't have too much water for the roots to take in or something like that. Anyways, it didn't last. Now lettuce was something. Okay, so lettuce, you cut off the bottom of the lettuce, put it in water, it gets roots, it starts to grow little shoots. So I had a big planter where I was keeping lettuce, but it didn't last. Now you can even get from the grocery store, you can get live lettuce and it comes with the roots and you think, oh, that's great, I can plant it. Well, yeah. And I mean, it does keep it fresh a lot longer than just, you know, regular lettuce in the fridge because it's actually growing. But the reality is that once you've used up that lettuce, like I was taking leaves from the outside, whether you take leaves from the outside or you cut off the whole thing, once that lettuce is used up, it doesn't really regenerate more lettuce. I mean, you get a few little things start to come up and then it just gets droopy and that's it. So I'm not bothering with that anymore. So from now on, I'm just growing lettuce in water. So these are my heads of lettuce, get it? I made these years ago. I worked for a pottery supply house and they gave me some clay and they let me fire it in their kiln. So I made these. But yeah, now I've got the lettuce in them. So yeah, it is starting to grow these little skinny lettuce shoots and it does have some roots. But yeah, when I put them in soil, they just never did well. So now I'm just going to try just growing it in water and just see how much I can get it that way. Now celery was the same thing. Celery, you chop off the bottom, you put it in water, and then it grows more celery. And this was doing well in the water, and now it's getting droopy. So yeah, it's getting kind of yucky. But when you have it in soil, it gets to a certain point, and then it just gets droopy. But this is getting droopy too. I mean, I could eat this because you can eat the leaves, and they taste like celery. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty spindly. But yeah. So it will regenerate, but not very much. Now broccoli, as you can see, it's not doing too much. It's getting some little leaves, but same thing with the broccoli. Like you try to get roots, but not too much happens. So corn. Now corn was something I thought, wouldn't it be cool to grow corn? I mean, look how tall the potatoes are. Maybe I could have like corn stalks in my kitchen. So I got corn on the cob, and what you do, like I always break them in half for Michelle because she just likes to have half of a corn on the cob. So at the bottom where you can see the kernels, I just took a few off and you put them in a wet paper towel and they sprout, and you put them in soil, and they did sprout, and it got like a little blade of grass, but then they didn't last, and they just bloop, and they just wilted. So I didn't have much luck with that. Pistachios. Now with, because I was thinking, you know, if in the future, if there wasn't meat and you wanted to have, you know, another source of protein, nuts. So I tried to grow the almonds, did not go well. Pistachios, again, in the wet paper towel, they did sprout, some of them. I mean, like maybe 1 in 5 sprouted, and you put them in soil, and they did sprout a little bit, but then poop, they didn't last. They wilted. So didn't have much luck with that either. So now the good part, okay? There are growing pains and there are growing pleasures. Some things are a pleasure to grow. Some things are pretty much a sure thing every time. And one of them, sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are amazing. You just get a sweet potato, put it in water. It's going to grow roots. It's going to grow these beautiful long vines, and it's just truly amazing. So this one, and I'm going to get to the house plants later, I'll mention them later, but I'm just showing this amazing sweet potato with the roots and then these vines that stretch out. Now this one just started growing recently. Can't really see the roots here. Let's see. Yeah, I see them a little bit. And the shoots, but it gets these beautiful maroon colored stems and leaves. I just love them, and it just keeps growing. And obviously this, so I planted one of the sweet potatoes, and it is growing, and the leaves are growing really tall. So I mean, it would be probably taller than me, but some of the stems are bent, but yeah, it's doing really well. Now this guy's seen better days. He's starting to get shriveled now, and he doesn't have too much left in him, but yeah. So yeah, so the sweet potato in the grow bag, and they grew really fast. So yeah, even just in water, they will grow these beautiful vines. If you put them in soil, they're going to grow like crazy. And I also planted some little baby potatoes that finally did sprout, and I put them in there as well. So yeah, it's doing quite well. Now potatoes, regular potatoes, as I said, the russet potatoes, nothing, nada. But I got some yellow potatoes, and they did sprout. So I planted some of the potatoes that sprouted. And then because I didn't want to waste potatoes, especially when I was low, so what I did, if there were a couple of sprouts, I just cut that part of the potato off and planted that. And you can just plant the top. So I still have the rest of the potato to use, to eat. So yeah, so that worked out well. And as you can see, they've grown like crazy. So yeah, these have grown so tall. So tall. Like this is taller than, this is probably 6 feet. So that's amazing. And this is in my kitchen. So potatoes do grow really well, and it's just a grow bag. And what's cool about these bags is, so I don't know if this is going to show because it's getting dark in here now, but this has got a flap at the front with Velcro. So you open up the flap. So once the potatoes are ready to harvest, apparently when the leaves turn yellow and it's got some flowers on it, then you know it's time, and then you open up the flap and you can harvest the potatoes. So here's the flap on the sweet potato bag. It's probably easier to see where to harvest them. So yeah, but they've grown really well. So yeah, the potatoes have grown really well, and hopefully when they're ready to harvest, whenever that will be, hopefully I'll have a lot of potatoes. So I mean, that's pretty great considering it's just like 1 or 2 potatoes or little tops off of potatoes with little sprouts, and then it turns into this. Like, that's pretty amazing. So yeah, like if you can get a bag of potatoes just from one potato, that's amazing. And you can grow them yourself even indoors, and they grow. I keep this, like right now I have it at the front so you see it, but it's usually right by the patio door so it's getting more light. So tomatoes, now of course tomatoes are what started it all, because we started growing them back in September 2022. So since then, when I got into the indoor gardening thing, I've grown some more. So I apologize if some of this was in the dark. I didn't even realize I didn't have the overhead light on, and the SD card ran out. I had to put in another one. I'm trying to get this done, and then I didn't have the light on. Anyways, I'm not reshooting all that stuff, so it's just in the dark, whatever. So tomatoes. So like this plant is a year old. Now he's looking the worse for wear right now. He's looking pretty wilted. But what I did, a lot of the leaves were browning, and I cut them off, and I figured because the leaves take up energy and they needed more energy for the fruit. So, I mean, it's got quite a few tomatoes. There's only one that turned red, and I was trying to figure out why that one was red. Now, usually, I mean, I've got it turned this way now, but usually it's the opposite way. So this little guy was the furthest away from the door, so he wasn't getting as much sunlight, but it was closer to the grow light at night. So I thought maybe that's why that one got red, but anyways, the other ones haven't ripened. Now these guys fell off and they never did fully ripen. I was hoping they were going to ripen just in a bowl, but we'll see. So yeah, that's my original tomato plant, and then I have these other ones. This one's looking pretty wilted now. It's been growing for a while. This one's doing pretty well. Still no tomatoes, but again, it probably takes a year for that to happen indoors. Now, Michelle wanted me to try growing tomatoes in a spaghetti sauce jar. She thought that would be cute, and it is kind of cute. And they are starting. I just planted these, and there is a little shoot starting there, if that shows. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, that was Michelle's idea. So it is pretty awesome that you can grow tomatoes just from a little seed from a cherry tomato. So hopefully they'll grow more, and yeah, they've done pretty well. Red peppers. Red peppers are pretty much a sure bet, and I would suggest don't plant all the seeds because most of them will sprout and you'll be overwhelmed. So with me, I had so many hundreds of sprouts, but over time, like I've thinned them out. What I wound up doing, I ate some as microgreens, because microgreens are like small little sprouts of things like kale or lettuce or radish or whatever, and you eat the shoots, and they're very nutritious, even more so than the full-grown vegetable. So I ate some of the red pepper sprouts as microgreens, and they taste like red peppers. But I'll show you the ones that remain, because some of them I ate and some of them kind of wilted and didn't seem happy. But a couple of them are doing well, but no one's anywhere near growing red peppers yet. So here's one. He's doing pretty well. I mean, this guy is quite big. There's 3 in here. These guys are a bit smaller. They're not doing quite as well. Green onions. Green onions are awesome. Like, I cannot recommend them enough. They are so easy. You just put them in water and they get roots and they grow new shoots. And basically, like these, and this hasn't even been that long. And basically I use up the green onion, and by the time I'm done with the ones in the fridge, this has grown more and I can just keep using them. So green onions are amazing. They're a sure thing. So if you do nothing else, you probably at least have room for some green onions on your windowsill. Yellow onions I mentioned before. This was from a whole onion, and this has grown some pretty healthy shoots. I've been using this a lot. And yes, the shoots are tasty. They do taste like onion, a little bit different than regular onion. And this one's not doing quite as well. Beans. Now, beans are pretty amazing. They're so easy to sprout. You put them in a wet paper towel and they sprout like within a couple of days, some of them. This guy's not doing as well. Now the chickpeas, they start off growing straight up and then they get kind of curly and they're cute, but then sometimes they just kind of wilt and they run out of steam. Like this guy he's okay so far, but sometimes they suddenly start to wilt. So beans are pretty awesome. I mean, dried beans, they'll keep for a long time and they're a good survival food to have. I've tried growing all of these. I would say the best ones to grow, the easiest to grow, are the red kidney beans and chickpeas, although they don't always last. So yeah, the beans are fun. I mean, it's fun for Michelle to see them growing too because they grow so quickly. I love things that sprout quickly and grow quickly because you feel like, you know, you're really doing something. You can see the result of your efforts. Like I know where they got the idea for Jack and the Beanstalk because they are almost like magic. Like you plant them and next thing you know, they're growing these huge plants. But I mean, there's varying levels of success. Sometimes they kind of run out of steam and they start wilting, but I have had a few beans from the plant. They'll get these little flowers and then sometimes they do turn into beans and they are cute. So yeah, they do grow beans, but again, it's probably not as prolific as it would be outside where it's getting more sun. So apples. Now I thought apples were a long shot. I didn't really think apples would grow indoors, although it seemed to me at some point I had for fun planted an apple seed and it did grow, and then I tried planting it outside and it didn't last. But so apple seeds, I put them in the fridge in the wet paper towel and waited and I kept checking. Then finally it looked like it had a little bit of something and I planted them and they did grow. So they're cute. I hope they're going to do well. They're really sweet. It would be so nice to have an apple tree inside. Now, these ones don't look quite as happy. I hope they're going to be okay. Now dragon fruit, I had read about dragon fruit and I really wanted to grow them because they grow these adorable cacti and like it starts off as a little cactus and then they grow these beautiful fruit. So I wanted to try it and I tried getting dragon fruit from my store, but they didn't have any. So I ordered some seeds on Amazon, and you never truly know with Amazon, are they actually going to be dragon fruit seeds? Are they actually going to grow? Well, they really did. And they're so cute and I hope they're going to keep growing. I know to actually grow fruit can take like up to 5 years. And that's if it's outdoors. So I don't know indoors if they'll ever bear fruit, but they're cute little cacti and yeah, so I'll show you up close. So dragon fruit in a dragon cup, why not? And here's some in a little kitty cup. And here's in a kitty stretching. I figured it'll be cute when it grows up taller because then it'll be like the cat's tail. And here's one. This one's got little hairs on it. It's so cute. They're so cute. So yeah, and pretty much all the seeds sprouted. I mean, it did really well. Here's one that's starting to get those little hairs too. So cute. And here's another one. So yeah, the dragon fruit were a success. I just hope they keep growing. Pineapples. Now I thought pineapples were a long shot, but you twist off the top when you get the pineapple, you peel off the bottom few layers of leaves and you let it dry out for a couple of days, and then you put it over water and like I have this pineapple glass, so I had it over that, so that was cute. And then you put it in soil, and I wanted a pineapple pot, but I couldn't find one, so I just got a yellow pot and I painted diamonds on it, so it sort of looks like a pineapple. So that's pretty cool. Again, they probably take 5 years to bear fruit, and they might not indoors, but I'm going to try anyways. Here's another one. So I was pretty excited that the pineapples grew, and I hope they're going to be okay. I did have one where, like with those pineapples, they weren't ripe, like they were green, the fruit was green, and I took the top off right away. I did get another pineapple where it was like yellow golden, so it was already ripe, and that one, when I took off the top and tried to put it over the water to get roots, it just rotted, so that one didn't work out, but at least I got these two. So yeah, pineapples are a pretty safe bet. Bananas. Okay, so I mentioned this before. So I did try to grow a banana from just a regular banana and from banana seeds. Did not work, but I ordered some from Amazon. It's growing something. It remains to be seen if it's actually a banana tree. I mean, it would probably be years before I would know, and I don't know, right now they just look like blades of grass, but we'll see what it turns into. Hopefully they're going to be okay. They look a little bit wilted. So yeah, that's the banana, like, I don't know. Pumpkins. So yeah, at Halloween we got a couple of little pumpkins, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to grow the pumpkin seeds? So yeah, they sprouted in paper towel, and yeah, I did have some others that I was growing and then they didn't last, but these guys are doing pretty well. So yeah, hopefully they'll grow pumpkins, and I can put them in a big grow bag like the potatoes, and hopefully they can grow. Okra. Okay, I had never had okra before, or even really heard about it. And then in my research about growing vegetables and fruits, I heard about okra, and I got so excited because before it develops the fruit or vegetable, it grows this beautiful hibiscus flower. So I got so excited, I wanted to try to grow it. Now okra, I guess, are native to Africa, and they're the main ingredient in gumbo, which I've never had. And here I am in Canada trying to grow them indoors in the winter. So needless to say, not really ideal situation, probably not getting enough sunlight, but I did try to grow some and they wilted and I got all depressed. But then I planted a few more seeds and they seem to be okay so far, and I've got more seeds so I can try again in the spring. But yeah, I'm really excited. I want them to grow because it looks like such a beautiful plant, and I don't even know what the vegetable tastes like, but I guess I'll see if it ever grows. So this is the okra. They're cute and they do sprout pretty fast. Like, you put them in a wet paper towel and they start to sprout, and you put them in soil, and yeah, they're pretty good. So far so good. I hope they're going to be okay. Cucamelons. So I had never even heard of them before. I mean, I don't get out much. Well, I don't get out at all anymore. But anyways, so I heard about cucamelons and they're so adorable. So they're so cute. They're the size of a grape. They look like a watermelon and they taste like cucumber mixed with lime. I mean, adorable. They're also called Mexican gherkins and mouse melons. So I guess they're native to Mexico. But anyway, I really wanted to try to grow them. Of course, my grocery store does not have anything that exotic, but I ordered the seeds from Amazon. Now with Amazon, it's hit and miss. So what one of the reviews said was, these are not cucamelon seeds, these are cucumber seeds. But that being said, they're excellent and the germination rate is very high. So I thought, okay, well, I wanted to grow cucumbers too, and I couldn't from my English cucumber from the store, nothing grew. So I'm like, either way, I don't know what's gonna go, but if something grows, I'll be happy. Well, they are really good seeds, and it did start to sprout. They sprouted in paper towel, they sprouted in soil. They're doing pretty well, so I'll show you, and hopefully they're gonna, I can't tell yet whether it's cucamelons or cucumbers. I do know cucumber leaves are very large and cucamelon leaves are smaller because of course the fruit is smaller. But I mean, it's still so young, it's still such a small sprout that I don't know, maybe the leaves will get bigger, but at this point it looks like maybe they really are cucamelons, so I hope so. So here they are. Now this guy, I don't know, maybe he got splashed with water, or maybe he's getting too much sun, or I don't know, because these leaves are kind of dappled, but this one's doing pretty well. And they grow this vine and they start like winding around. So hopefully these guys are going to be okay. And I mean, I put them in this, they're in a grow bag, and I have this like trellis thing, and I was hoping they were going to grow all the way up and you know, they'd be winding around. It would be so cute, but it hasn't happened yet. And I mean, I kept putting off making the video, and who knows, like by the time I make it, there's going to be a lot of things that I don't have anymore. So I thought I better do it now because it's winter and who knows how long things will last. So while I was reading and researching about edibles and growing fruits and vegetables indoors, I also did some reading about houseplants. Now, I was worried because I don't know what's going to happen in the winter. Is everything going to go dormant, or all the plants going to die? I wanted to have something growing in my kitchen, so I got some houseplants. Now, I didn't know if garden centers would deliver. They do, so I got a few plants and I researched which ones were hardy and would be happy whether they're in low light or any situation. So I wanted things that were easy to grow. So this is a pothos, or devil's ivy, and it's doing pretty well. I mean, when I got it, it had a lot of broken leaves, and it was in too small of a pot, but I've repotted. It was on sale. The thing is about having it delivered, you don't get to pick them out yourself, but it's doing all right. This is a snake plant, and they're pretty tolerant. You don't have to give them much water. They'll be fine in a lot of light or low light, whatever situation. This is a ZZ plant, and it's also pretty tolerant of whatever situations. This is a calathea. It's so beautiful. I love these leaves. I'm just in love with this. Look at the beautiful patterns. It's so cute. And at night it folds up its leaves. It's so cute. Now this is a spider plant, and when I got it, it was so pot bound. Like it was in a tiny little pot, and the thick roots were like sticking out of the bottom, and there were so many broken and brown leaves, and I just cut them off. And then it had one beige stick sticking out, and now it's getting like these new little snake plant, little baby snake plants. So I'm gonna try to propagate these little babies. They're so cute. And then I'll have more snake plants. So this was only $4.99. So I mean, I can't complain, even though there were a lot of broken and brown leaves, but it's doing pretty well. He's hanging in there, literally. And this is some ivy. And again, I'm hoping that this is going to grow and hang down. But I love these macrame plant hangers. They remind me of the 70s. They're very bohemian. I like those. Now I wanted to try to fill in this space. That's a painting that I did of Algonquin Park, Smoke Lake in Algonquin Park. And I only had a few plants, so I wanted to fill in the space. I've got my sweet potato there too. And then I had these black sculptures around the house, and I put them all together as kind of a collection. So it seems to go together. And I also added pots of some hens and chicks. So Echeveria, I think they're also called Sempervivum, and Stonecrop from my garden outside. These are great. They grow anywhere. They're so easy. And this kind of looks like seaweed, this Stonecrop. I love this pot. It's so cute. And there's a Buddha head with some hens and chicks in it. And yeah, so these keep growing. I mean, I've got perennials in my garden, and they come back every year. So yeah, so this is my little houseplant section. And yeah, so even if my edibles don't last, at least I've got these. So there are so many advantages to having plants. They improve your mental and your physical health. Plants literally clean the air. I mean, through photosynthesis, they convert carbon dioxide to oxygen, so they produce oxygen. But some of these plants literally even clean chemicals out of the air. Like they take out benzene and formaldehyde. Things like the spider plant literally clean toxins out of the air, and I think the snake plant does as well. So I mean, it's amazing, and I like looking at them when I'm cooking or doing the dishes, whatever, in the kitchen, and I like seeing them here, and it helps me to relax. And I like potting things and working with the soil, and I love watching things grow. So it's really been kind of a meditative practice to, you know, work with my garden. So yeah, so that's my indoor garden. And I mean, I love seeing other people's gardens, people that have like huge fiddle-leaf figs and Monstera deliciosa and birds of paradise palm and all these things. But you know, I don't happen to live in $1 million loft with, you know, 2-story windows and a place flooded with light. You know, I'm limited here. I've just got my patio doors. So, you know, I've got the things like tomatoes right by the door to hopefully get the most sun, but some of them, you know, they're not getting as much sun. Hopefully they'll still be fine. So far so good. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this and learned something. Maybe you can learn from my mistakes. But, you know, yeah, like it didn't always go perfectly, but still, if I had it all to do over again, I still would, because it's been very rewarding. And some things are growing, and it's pretty amazing to know that you can grow your own food and reuse even just your scraps from your groceries. And yeah, and houseplants are great companions. They're great listeners, and they're cleaning the air. So yeah, so grow some green stuff in your house and be happy. Anyway, so thanks for watching. I wanted to share my experience in case someone can learn from this. And again, yeah, it's been a great experience overall. Yeah, there's been some highs and lows, but it's mostly been rewarding. And I love being surrounded by plants. It's like bringing the outdoors in, and now that I'm home all the time, I like having that. And it's winter, and now I can feel like in a way it's still spring because there's still things growing around me. So anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, stay safe, and happy growing.